All right, we got a rating in the comments. It's by Flowart5331, Delmar by Flowart. My first Shattered Peak Brutal Outpost. I'm pretty happy with how the interior decoration came out. It's a mix of open and tight spaces for hopefully some nice variety. Volt and Fury is what I tested with, so it's what I recommend. I don't know what happened with this one. I got 22 seconds of recording and it stopped. I don't know if there's like a hotkey that I hit. It sucks because at this point I am creating an original Frosty the Snowman song that I'm singing about. But I'm commenting on how well you did this. I thought that nose was a lava cube at first, but it was kind of like a carrot, obviously, projection. So I'm coming here. This is a really fun time, and it's a bummer. This one sucks, not so much for the original song by me, but really there's a couple of moments in here that I really, well, you'll see. Flowart does a great job on this and creates kind of a whole trying to remember what I was doing there. Oh yeah, I'm picking through the walls. It's a well done base, and at the end I kind of I literally am recording this after recording, and it's so annoying that this stupid OBS does this sometimes. But I want to do it fresh, so like I'm literally coming right out of the base and just going, okay, go right back to the replay and trying to remember what you got. So commenting on this was just kind of fun. I'm looking at just everything he's put in here, the light and everything. I'm trying to remember that I have a sword, and I need to remember to use it defensively, because otherwise it's just dead weight for me. Yeah, this kind of the frost turbine powering Frosty's evil. You know, he's taken a childhood beloved literary character, and now he's a frosty cold bitch that's absorbing all the gen mat from, you know, unfortunate custodians coming in. That's cool. I get to see my name. I was seeing if I could get this guy shot by the bolts. So I'm like, oh, these are homing. Pop. Well, yeah, it was just as fun the second time, I guess. Flowart, this just means, though, that you are officially in the Cult of Boom, because now you have a recording that I screwed up. So you are definitely part of the lore now. So this kind of goes in and out. He kind of commented, like, I tried to keep variety going, and I think he nailed the variety. It's just super fun to go into this. This, I commented, I've seen this in another base, almost in what is the exact same location. I'm sure it's going to get patched out. I don't know if he built around it or if it just happens to be something, but I have another one where I'm like, what causes this? And it's about the same location on the other plot. It's kind of a little to the left. And I was like, I wonder if he built around it all of a sudden. But also, it's too bad that once that gets patched out, like, people won't know that little extra spot. But I'll remember. And you'll have a recording for all time that you can reference. You know, when you tell your, you know, wife, husband, kids, dog, cat, gerbil, neighbor. So, I look at this because I'm like, oh, this is the first time I chopped the assassin up. Literally die because of ADD. And I'm like, dude, what the that's unbelievable. But, you know, I had to see the assassin's head chopped off, so I'm trying to remember when certain things happen. So if I'm slowing or not saying things, it's because I'm waiting, because I'm not timing it right for when it happened. I don't know what I did there. Oh yeah, I mentioned that I thought it'd be really funny if, like, we started tracking each season how many times my ADD specifically got me killed. That is 100% one. If I wasn't looking at the head, I would have looked up, you know, shot that or gone back. So I just think it'd be really funny to have a tally at the end of every season. You know, how many times I died because of it. This I thought I chopped, but, you know, if you don't have... now I see it, because at the time I'm like, man, I thought I chopped his legs, but I guess not. But seeing it there, it's like, without that lunge range, which spoils you, and the fact that the lunge range is also really short on the small sword, You really got to get up in there. That's why I don't like the sword, the Fury's Edge, but it's also why I think it continues to be like the coolest weapon in the game. Because if you're bringing that in, I think you're putting it like ultra hard mode in a lot of ways. Although I guess it deflects, which is, you know, arguably pretty cool. Good pit of shame there. Like that one a lot. I hear the assassin growling. This is happening a lot too, though. You can't... Oh, yeah, see how it was aimed down? The lasers aren't showing. And I was saying, I know they had a problem with that. That they patched out, you know, kind of air quotes, but it's still kind of happening. And it is kind of like extra hard just because, you know, the whole basis of the... If you miss those, by the way... Okay, so with this one, I was like, what killed him? I thought I had gotten a bolt in him. I was like, go back in slow-mo and tell me. Do I have a grapple in my hand over there to the left? But it looks like he just hit the lava thing. But what's cool about those guys, they like wrap. They follow a trail, and they'll just go right through. But I think he hit 2 lava cubes. So I don't know what I'm looking at here. Let's fast forward. Okay. Now I say I'm turning off my ADD, because that's how you do it. That's how easy it is. You just decide not to have it, and then it goes away. And I say, like, you know, what did I say? I said, yeah, you don't need like a notebook, you don't need a planner, you don't need to just write it down, you just turn it off. And I was trying to think of all the other like horrible pieces of advice I got over the years for like dealing with it. Like, well, just, you know, remember to put it in a planner. Dude, I won't. If I remember to put it in the planner, I won't remember to read the planner. If I... Oh, boy. This is where shit starts getting kind of crazy. So basically, I focus on ADD for a little bit, which, you know, surprise to no one, is often a topic that comes up for me. Okay, we're going to the open area here again. Back in... Oh, oh, the grapple's gone. I noticed that time around. Okay, well, that's interesting. This is where I got bombed out. Cool. So we got that time. I feel like there's something else up here. That's a good place for a boomy, too. Right there. I like that. Well, he's invisible in my game, so that's interesting. In the replay, they're visible. But I saw that little cloaking thing go by, and I was like, the assassin's become the assassin. Or the assassinated. But here I'm just in full focus mode. It's time to destroy everything. I still don't know where that assassin is. But I'm guessing he's like, you know, pathing through the base to kind of get people from behind, my guess. Speedrunners. That, if he, you know, he'd have to set him for that. If they're cruising through, then you set him after this. And then I commented on your award, which is really cool. Really proud of you for that. You did an awesome job on your bases. This is no less than another one. This is fun. I felt like I was getting my workout the first time with my A&D going back and forth. I suddenly was like, man, if it does that like drift thing on replays, you know, sometimes I'll be like, oh man, I'll have to like try and remember the rest of it. And there'd be stuff in here I really want you to see, which luckily you kind of get to see the alternate timeline where it doesn't happen. And I'm like, oh, you missed the ending part, which is really cool. And it is. So see this? No lasers until that they're firing a little bit. And then I was like, you know, I wonder if it'd be cool, and quickly realized it would be abused and be awful. But like, I don't know. And just like a really expensive mod where like you can't see the lasers for like 50. I know it's like complete, but like imagine dropping into like a large tower or something with those and not being able to see any of the lasers until they like fire. Like that would be crazy. And also again, like extremely abused. You know, like there'd be a ton of bases with like one invisible one with the rest, or you do half lasers that show and then half that don't. Oh man. And then you'd be like trying to guide through the actual lasers, but there'd be invisible ones that hit you. Yeah, that would suck. All right, I take that back. I'm glad we did this second time around because I thought that was a really good idea, and I'm just like, no, that would be beyond awful for everybody. You'd love it as a builder. You'd just be chopping people up, but yeah. You know my most bummer part about this dream is I thought that might be an exploding and I'd be able to get him. Watch him. That one was like I almost shit my pants. We bisected him and I was like, oh cool, we get to see, and I noticed that like even the ribs have like a meat quality to them. So they're just like highly condensed meat packets. This is your captain of the guard because he's like he dodges all my attacks. Fearless in the face of danger, doesn't run. This guy needs a raise, man. I don't think that got him either. Oh, it did. Okay. This is where I'm like, all right, if I pick the wrong side to shoot up into this illusory as I'm peeking this, then I'm going to get bombed. And that's why I'm like, I need to go to the left and get that other bolt. Because if I had shot and hit that left triangle and this thing initiated, I wouldn't have had another bolt to stop those. And then this guy, like twice, you know, these guys are just kind of coming through. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. You can see he's crushed this base. What was I saying? My biggest regret is you missing out on the Frosty the Snowman song I had. I made. I was really vibing. So you see a laser in there, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna avoid that because I don't need to deal with it. It's an invalid path. I'm not gonna mess with it, and if he's got secondaries, whatever. But I learned something about it at some point. Don't do what I... And this was like the best. And I know in his replay, he's like, oh my god. Seeing me push back by that, the assassin push it, and then the spikes come down is like, that's going to be his highlight. Where he's like, this is so cool. So, I'm glad I provided that for you. Make sure you put your Phoenix kit down, dude. Don't be reckless. Oh, this is nice too. I always forget, like, we can kind of... There's an advantage to doing it this way, I guess. You can... I think you can better assess and appreciate things that you miss. Because in the moment, like on really intense bases or really clever ones, I wonder if this is the way to do it. Although I like being in the moment. And I like you guys seeing where I'm at in the moment too. But being able to be like, hey, this is a really good setup here. Where sometimes I'll just walk right by stuff. And you'll be like, oh, man. Where I do feel that way. It's just I'm not noticing it because I'm so like trying to focus on surviving and whatever. And yeah, I was gonna say you still don't have a Phoenix kit down, dude. And this with the assassins, if you miss, it's a real problem. You almost don't have enough time to. This is where I realize this shoots up into this no matter what because of this bounce, and then probably sets off an invisible illusory that lets these guys out, which I think is really clever. And people don't want to mess with it that much. I suppose they turn shoot real quick, but if you got something in the hallway, this one where I'm like, oh, this is a good. I want to drag him out of there because I'm not fighting him. But if you miss your bolt, you know he lines up and then he follows you around the corner. You gotta make your shot. You either gotta hit him in the chest to stun lock him and then hit him with a second, which is 2 bolts out, or you gotta make your first shot count. So assassins are a lot more unforgiving with mistakes. This, I'm like, get out of here, run, so you can just trigger everything. I'm really glad I did. There was a shit ton of DBs in the lower left when this went down. And I'm waiting for, like, does he set off something to the left? Because if you grab it and run, I feel like Dream would be like, all right, cool. This will initiate some. I'll drop some assassins. And so I wanted to be sure. But when I heard those flame and the hook, I was like, oh my god, I think he got me anyways. Which is... why it's more remarkable is that bombs went off right underneath my feet here, and it didn't blow those things up. You know? Like, that's kind of nuts to me. And even here, a pull-in right at the end, like, if you go too far, it just keeps you there, blows up. And bombs get you on the back if you roll right in. And then this is, like, Frosty, like, absorbing all the marrow, and then you see, like, a railroad tie stuck in a skull. I'm like, damn, Frosty. But just a cool... just really everything about this is neat. There's some cool stuff like laser, like specifically like one trap to trigger, and then he let me out because, you know, he's like, all right, I want to hear what you have to say about space. I don't want to, you know, waste any time. Yeah, damn it. I wanted that. I wish I had recorded the Frosty song I made just for me. because it was so dumb. But it was a really, really great job. And, I was waiting for kind of the Winter Wonderland aesthetic because you knew it was coming. It's a snow biome, and you got to have that. I was thinking, like, I've seen the candy canes. I was waiting for the elves. You're going to see, like, a fat robot Santa or something like that. And I just think in here, I'm kind of commenting because he writes, it's a mix of open and tight spaces, hopefully some nice variety. Volt and Fury is what I tested it with, so it's what I recommend. I did go in with the Fury. I don't think I used... Oh, I chopped the Assassin a couple times. But here I'm talking about, like, going into these different parts, and, you have a little combat here, and over here it goes into, like, the glowy turbine area, and then you have some combat here, long hallways with some clever stuff. You go into this kind of larger area, and then at the final part, you have, lasers shooting up that release more assassins. It really felt like you were going into a mall and then kind of checking out, like, different stores at it, all of which oh, yeah, I made a whole little spiel about going into the Hot Topic and talking to the girl behind the register. That's okay. That'll be another time. But it feels like many things combined into one, like you're visiting different areas, or like a... not Small World at Disneyland. We're checking out the different countries. Not quite that, but like every area is very novel and different and cool. And how he incorporated the glow of that turbine, like each plot has that, and if you use it, you have a unique room that most people don't use, because it's just left out in the open. But if you do, you create lighting in an area that you can't create on your own because it's built into the ground. And when you do that, it looks cool when you're in there flying around and you're like chopping and shooting. But I think in the replays, seeing the light come up from below and like people going in there and like shooting it probably helps your replay look really like cinematic as well. And I just think, incorporating that to the left and so on is kind of a cool thing. I still don't understand that grapple, that stationary grapple. I've seen it a bunch, but oh shoot, I got to remember what. So if you want to check it out, because it's not going to show, this one's by Flowart, and it is, let me just make sure I have the name correct. Delmar, Delmar. Sorry for screwing up your thing. I didn't do anything. It just stopped after 22 seconds. So unless I hit a hotkey, I'm not really sure what I'm doing wrong. But I guess I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way and just keep looking over and making sure it's recording. Stupid, but at least it'll save me some time. So anyways, it was a great job. I gave this, actually, this was hard. It was, this one was ingenious, brutal, fun, artistic to me. I think, and yeah, I think ingenious is, ahead of the game. He used a couple bouncers, but he made it look really cool. But it is a hard base. And the assassins, we're starting to see it. It's in those hallways and those really around corners, because they kind of defy physics. They will track you around it. Corners with assassins are like really, really dangerous. So just keep that in mind. Great job on this one though. Delmar by Flowart.